Okay, Spacely, welcome back. But if you're new here, we do everything DIY, whether it's skincare, making home goods, cosplay, or in this case, winemaking. I am going to check if my Lychee wine has stopped fermenting, so we have to take a gravity reading. Let me show you how that looks. All right, so it's been a couple of weeks since I've been in here last after adding the tea bag. I am very excited to see how it looks, how it smells. These buckets are the worst. These buckets are so scary because having nails, I'm always just like, I might lose one to this, but not today. We're doing good. Let's look at these Lychees. I'm not mad. Like it has a nice fruity smell to it, which is good. I like that. Let's see where we are with the gravity reading. I do like the color. I think when I add the rose petals, it's gonna be a nice blush, like a light pink color when I add the rose. So this is nice that it's already a nice tan. I have my hydrometer in the cylinder already. And we're gonna give it, I think that's enough. But we're gonna give it a nice little fancy twirl and see what we have. That was not enough. JK, guys. I give it just a little. Oh, there we go. See that buoyancy right there? That's what we want. Okay. Now I like to give it a little twirl.
There you go.
Thank you, girl.
Yeah.
And I am looking at that 1.010. So not quite 1.000. Now in this moment here, what I can choose to do is let it sit for another week to see if it's done here at this point, or I can tell it it's done and add potassium Campton to it and just halt it completely. I don't know. Let's go to the math, because the math is exactly where I want to be. So I did the math on this, and where it's currently sitting, it would be at 13%, not the 15 we discussed. So I will be putting it back in for another week just to see if it would drop down to the 1.000. If not, then I get a second reading that's at the 1.010. I know that fermentation has completely stopped because that's 2 readings, and I'm still going to drop a potassium sorbate in there just to make sure I don't make a bomb for the secondary stage, but I will be back in a week. It's been a week and some change since I took the last gravity reading. So we're going to see if this reading today comes in at the same or if it comes at a different rating. We're hoping for the same because that means that the fermentation is done and we can go on to the secondary stage. So let's see what we got. Taking this out. This.
Bruh.
Always. Hopefully this is the last time we go in this bucket. So I'm sure it's gonna give us its all. Guys, I'm smelling alcohol. Like for real. Okay. Sensational. We're in here. Let us begin. All right, I sanitized this cylinder. We're going to get an accurate reading. Okay, so we're gonna see what comes back. I wish you guys could smell it. It's so fruity. I actually really love that about this batch. Okay. And our hydrometer goes. I'm gonna do a spin off of principle, but there's no real bubbles to worry about. So let's get into it. Let's see, shall we? I'm gonna let it do its thing again, but
60-20, 60-40. You just got a dollar on the wheel.
yep. See that? We're right at the 0%, 1.000. Look at that. So this is perfect. We know that we're at that 15% ABV, okay? So we are going to transfer this into the next vessel that I'm going to have for my secondary stage. And I'm doing this a little differently. Usually, right, when I take my last gravity reading, I'm like, okay, this is good. I would put potassium sorbate in there because I would usually let the secondary stage happen in the bottles that I'm going to, send my wine out in. Because I do really a great job with making sure that there's not too many lees or sediment on the bottom, but I like to have just a little oomph of them because I feel like in the secondary stage, they do help with flavor, and then I get rid of them for the final stage. But the thing is, why have it in the bottles they're going to go out in the secondary when you could just have a different vessel for the secondary? So that's when I ordered this 2-gallon glass jar. Now, what we're going to do, we are going to add a fresh set of Lychees in here. We're going to add the wine, which we're going to make sure I don't waterboard myself as I usually do when I have to use a hose. We're going to add the rose petals. How are we going to have Lychee rose wine with no rose petals? And then we're going to let this sit and mature and do its thing. I'm going to taste this actually to see if I need to add more honey. I forgot. I'll be right back. It's very important to try it here because you get to see, okay, the tea bag that I added in for tannins, did it really add the amount that I wanted? You get to see, okay, do I have to back sweeten and add more honey, or is it good where it is? So it has a very interesting smell. Now the wine is very young, so the alcohol is it's like, hello, I'm here, I'm 15%. When this goes in the secondary, it's aging so that alcohol can mature and not be like boof. I'm not mad at the boof, but I know that it needs some time to set in. For sweetness, I really don't know if I want to add any more sugar to this. I like where it is because I'm going to sit this on top of like a fresh batch of Lychee, and that's going to have syrup in it. I think that might be the amount of sugar that might need to be added. So delightful. Like, I love Lychees in the summertime. My mom and I, we used to bust them up like where the top of our mouths would get raw because we had so many. I love how they burst in your mouth when you pop them open. I love them cold. I've had a love affair with Lychee since a child, so making this wine with Lychee is blowing my mind. Okay, I'm gonna get the Lychees that I'm gonna put in a jar, and I'll be right back. So this is my jar of fresh Lychees that I'm putting in. Next up is the rose. So these are my rose petals that I got from Star West. I got the organic ones to make sure that we didn't get any that might have been sprayed with pesticides. With the mass production of roses, that's usually something you have to look out for. I like a subtle rose. I don't want the rose and the Lychee to be fighting each other. I want them to do a dance. I want them to mingle. I want them to both be the stars. So with that being said, I've seen with lavender and with rose, you don't need too much. So I sanitized my mescaline bag, and you know what? To make sure that I have a consistent recipe, let me measure it. I was about to put my hand in there. I think for this batch, I'm gonna do not a full half cup. I'm gonna do like this much of a half cup for the rose, because again, I don't want it to be too strong where it's like, well, you should have just said this was a rose wine, but I wanted to have like a little hint. Okay, so that's in my bag here. And the thing about it is you can add, you cannot take away. So I'll let this steep for 2 weeks. I'll check on the taste to see how it changed. And then if I need to add a little bit more rose, then I'll add a 1/4 cup. But here it is, I tied it. I'm gonna put this in here now. Ooh. So we have our lychee, we have our rose. Next up is putting our wine onto it. So I'm gonna start by like removing the lychee that's floating on the top before I try to do the holes, because I'm not trying to have any situations, guys. I want to get all of this that's on the top off, so I'm not fighting it. I do not want to lose too much of my wine. Okay, perfect. So now what is next is to transfer this wine into here. We're using gravity when we're using the hoses. So I'm gonna have this on the ground and this above it for me to transfer it. I'm gonna show you how that looks. I like it to be a little bit further up. I don't like to have too much of a gap for my headspace, but you know, this is my first time doing this recipe. This isn't too bad. I'm gonna add my airlock. Yes, we took the gravity reading and it's at 1.000. Because I added the lychees in the syrup, I just want to make sure if for some reason fermentation kicks on, irregardless of the 1.000, I don't have a ticking time bomb. Now, there's much debate on how long you are to age your wines. You know, for commercial wines, they say you gotta age it for years. You see all these wines out there, it's like it's from the 1900s and it's how many hundreds, thousands of dollars. So it kind of brainwashed us to believe that that's what you need to do. As I did more research with homemade meads and wines, really, like, you need to let the alcohol mature and then you can enjoy it. I've had between 1 to 2 months, depending on what I'm using. Like when I did my apple ginger wine, I don't know if I have it. Oh yeah, I have it. So this was my apple peach ginger wine. I let it age for 3 months. I did it in October and then I released it for Christmas. That wine needed that to mature. My boysenberry one that I did, I just did this for this past Christmas, but I used jams to make it. So I don't know if using raw fruit and materials versus using jam makes a difference, but that wine was nice and ready after a month. So you gotta really just experiment, take your tests. I mean, who's complaining? And determine what's best for you. This one, I'm going to give it 2 to 3 weeks to see how the rose infused into this batch is, if I need to add more rose or not. If at that 2 to 3 week mark I don't need to add any more rose, that taste test, I'm going to see, okay, do I need this to be for a month, which would be another 2 weeks, or do I need it for like a month and 2 weeks? My main goal is Easter, which is next month. So I'm kind of like, I think it will mature at that time. But, you know, with, you saw that? You saw that? Okay. That's what I'm talking about here. The paranoia I have is because anything is possible when you're making alcohol. So I'm glad I have this airlock on this one here, because obviously it's still going. And I will combine the 2 week mark and the bottling together for the last video for this wine. So if you enjoyed this video, if you thought it was informative, if you had fun with me, if you wish that you had a glass to taste with me right now, like the video. I hope that you were able to subscribe and hit the notification bell. I will see you again.